Hello NABARD aspirants, welcome to C4S. And today's sessions will be dealing with the common mistakes you need to avoid in your descriptive English mains paper of the NABARD exams, which is around the corner. Descriptive English basically is a section which tests your drafting and writing skills. The way in which you write your clear, structured sentences is what the evaluator expects from you. And the technical part, which counts for around 25 to 30% weightage of your evaluation criteria, is a zone where you just cannot miss it out. So in this sessions, I'll be dealing with where you can get the maximum score on descriptive English if you focus on these things and avoid these common mistakes in your exams. The first important thing is the technical part, as I've just mentioned it out, the place where students generally miss it out and the place where the students just don't put the hard work on is the technical aspects, like the errors usually which occurs in sentences in the subject verb formation, in the tenses part, in the verb forms, in the sentences run off, in your spelling or the typo errors, and in your punctuation part. Cover this and practice it, because this is the place where you can get the maximum score if you work on this right from the beginning. Second thing, jahan pe mistakes are very common, is ignoring the word limits. We know you have that 50 minutes, 50 marks has to be done with that 30 minutes of your time interval. So ignoring the word limits is one negative thing which will lead you into the incomplete paper. The word limits generally of essay, which I've discussed in the previous sessions, is of around 200 to 250 words. Of your Precis and of your letter is around 150 to 180 words. So you need to focus on the word limit right from the beginning. Next thing is the essay. In the essay, students generally, let's take with an example, is what is essay? Essay is basically you're writing your paragraph of introduction, body, conclusion in very simple and structured format. So let's take an example like of online education. A student has enlisted the content in this manner. As you can see, though the content is very well written it out, the way the students have structured their answers, like written the titles of it, will lead it to less of marks. Why? Because essay basically you need to write it in just paragraph form, which is the need of the hour. Okay, your essay generally consists of your introduction, your body, and your conclusion. And introduction carries one paragraph, body is generally of 2 to 3 paragraphs, and conclusion is of 1 paragraph. Structuring your answers in paragraph is what is the requirement of your descriptive English. Numbering it, adding titles, adding bullet points, adding subheadings is a strict no in your descriptive part. Next thing is the mistakes where generally occurs it in writing without planning first. Structuring of answers is the best way, which saves your time and which gives you the correct idea as to how you can write your answers for the descriptive part. Because once you get that of 1 to 2 minutes, you put it to your mind, you structure it, whatever content has to be written in points, you know how and well to proceed on in a proper, coherent and logical manner. So always start writing without, always start, first plan it out and then start writing. Next thing is using of overly complex vocabulary. English paper doesn't mean you have to be have high finished words, over exaggerated words, over exaggerated sentences. It just looks it out is the way you have used simple words, the way you have put clarity in your words, and as properly structured answers is the requirement of your English paper. So don't overdo it with complex words, and don't be under the notion that it is English paper, you have to write it as complex as. Just avoid it. This is the common mistakes which the students generally commit it up. Next thing is errors generally occur where you memorize full thing, full essays. If you are given for a practice, you think if the topic is that based on agriculture and an agriculture topic 2 comes up in the exams, if the students just memorize it from the beginning, they again put it that the same thing in the exams question. So memorizing essays is just wasting your time over it. In fact, just remember the keywords and in your own simple structured way sentences you can put it for your examination part. Next thing is having a monotonous and repetitive ideas. essay doesn't, in fact, essay, Précis or letter doesn't even look out for the monotonous or repetitive ideas. You have to have a little difference in the way, like the introduction is different, your body will be different, and your conclusion all will be different. Even Précis, everything has to be arranged in a coherence and logical manner. Same applies with your letter. So using of monotonous sentences and repetitive points, ideas is a strict no and will fetch you less marks. Next thing, very important requirement for Précis and report is the title, which the students generally mistake it out or totally neglect it. Title itself carries separate marks, so work on that and don't at all miss it out. Just writing the title will have you some marks definitely in your pocket. Next thing is writing your imagination in Précis, a very common mistake which the students generally commit. Like Précis is what basically writing your, the paragraph has to be concised in 1/3 of the original paragraph. That doesn't mean you will put it in your own words or in your own ideas. You have to just write the concise part of the original passage, picking out the keywords and framing it in your own sentences. Next thing is in letter. Letter correct format is very necessary, and especially in formal letter, which I generally recommend students to put it in their exams, is the reason for the correct format. As I've discussed previously, the letter has with it some very common formats, and just writing the correct format itself is a add-on marks for your descriptive mains. But the error generally occurs like missing out on simple thing, omitting the not writing in the correct format of your sender's address, then a date, then receiver's address, then a subject, salutation, body, and the ending closure. It's generally the correct format. At the last, you have just write after the ending closure, thanking you, yours sincerely or yours faithfully. And here one mistake where generally occurs it, putting an apostrophe. So avoid the simple mistakes in your exams, so you can get the maximum marks, because at the end, descriptive English is a game changer of the mains exams, and it's a very scoring thing which you can get it if you work it on in a correct manner, in the right path, right from the beginning. So that was all for today's sessions, which was to main focus on the common mistakes. Make it a practice right from the beginning, right from the starting, because getting yourself mastered in English is not just a 1 day or 1 week affair. It requires consistent and dedicated efforts right from the beginning. That was all for today's sessions. If you like this sessions, give it a like, thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel. For more information, you can log it on to our website. You can connect us at our mail. Even on the Telegram channel, you can connect us on. That was all for today's sessions. Have a good day. Thank you. God bless you all.